Hey guys, welcome back. So today is going to be a real quick video about an issue that I had with my CR10 S5 3D printer. It's not a real issue. It actually goes along with some advice that I give people all the time that I just forgot to follow myself. But anyway, it started like this. I was printing a whole bunch of parts for this project I'm doing right now, which I will hopefully be able to make a video about in the next few months. I'm videotaping that. Anyway, that's besides the point. And the parts were getting these little lines that looked like layer offsets where a section, and it wasn't just like bad print lines, it was like a whole little sections of the print would be like just a little bit out of whack. And not bad, like it's easily fixable with my 2K primer, we'll fill it in, not a problem. But it's still annoying. It doesn't look as good, and it's a little bit more cleanup. Not horrible, but I'm like, I got to figure out what this is. So this is what the parts look like. I'll do a close-up on the part so you can see it. This is the weird surface pattern I was talking about, and you can see my big ugly thumb. Again, apologize for this extreme close-up. I can't show what this is yet. Now, I can feel these a little bit, but they're not horrible. They look worse on camera for sure. You'll see every once in a while I get like a weird surface booger outside of the print area. I mean, like, just on the outside of the print, which is strange. So I was like, what is causing this patterning? It's not consistent. There's no like rhyme or reason to it. So I started to look at my printer and figure out what the deal was. I was checking my belts. Is the belt loose? Is something wrong? And I didn't find anything. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the G code is weird. I don't know what the deal is. And then I took a moment and I was feeding some filament or something, and I noticed something that was going on, and it was this. So when I was feeding in filament, I looked here and I realized the printer was actually running when I was doing it, and I was kind of like feeding the filament through as the printer ran, which I do it regularly. I've never had a problem doing that, but I don't necessarily recommend it, but it doesn't seem to hurt. Anyway, point is, I was watching here to see if a different color filament was coming through, and I look down, and this is actually running, and as it's running, it crosses over a little bumpy patch on like the first layer, and this whole piece in here, the heater element down in there with its little heat sink, whole thing was like moving a little bit. Like when it hit a bump, it would turn, and then it would go for a while, and then it would hit another bump and it would turn back, which totally explains those weird layer lines. So basically, while the printer was running, literally mid-print, I pulled this whole thing off, dangled it down there by the wires, not advisable, tightened up the little bolts for this guy, and then every print from then on out has looked really, really good. So now that this is tight, a huge quality difference. So long story short, I basically had to disassemble the little fan shroud and pull all the stuff off, and then I tightened this part down, and weren't all my prints look great again. I'll show you a close-up on one here. It's a little bit different material. It's actually a material that shows off the surface even more. You'll see here in a second. And you can see on this piece that I did after I did the fix, I don't have any more of those weird offset layers. Now this material is very reflective, so it shows off the layer lines, and I printed this in a 0.3 millimeter layer height. It's like a very quick print. The red up there is just some leftover PLA that I used to make the brim. It's a little bit left in the tube. But you can see this material, this is PETG. It's got like a little flex to it. Man, I really like this stuff. This is going to be my new go-to material for a lot of printing. I still will use PLA and ABS from time to time, but the PETG is just really good. The surface, even though you can see those reflections, it feels very smooth, and I think once I get a layer of primer on here, it's going to be invisible. But that's not really the point of this. Point is just to show that now I don't have any more of those layer offsets. This one came out really good. Sorry for the extreme close-up, but I can't show what this is yet. So future video, I'll be able to show these pieces. So yeah, there's a giant improvement in the quality of the print, just because I tightened those down. Now the piece of advice that I give everybody that I didn't pay attention to myself was to check your printers once in a while for the, make sure all of the bolts are tight. Because those printers are moving around, they're shaking and moving and doing all kinds of stuff. Sometimes the bolts will start to loosen up a little bit. And so if your print quality starts to suffer, if you see it like your prints just aren't quite as good as they were before, just go over your whole printer with your little Allen key set and your little wrenches and make sure everything is snug. Go over it once, check all the bolts, and it makes a drastic improvement. And I've had every single one of my printers has had this happen in some regard. Never in this point, I've never had it happen where the extruder was loose, but I've had it happen where like a piece of the frame will loosen up a little bit and I'll just get like a little bit more layer lines than I did when the printer was new. But once I went over and tightened everything up, everything was solved. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, that was it. I'm getting out of here. I will see you guys soon. Have fun. Later. Bye.